Hello, everybody. Jonathan Pulley here with West Coast Weather. Today is December 10th, and we're going to talk about the remnants of this weekend's atmospheric river first. It's still bringing some rainfall to the parts of the Oregon Cascades and the Oregon coastline. Other than that, it's mostly cloudy over large parts of southern BC and also most of Washington state. There's some high level clouds moving over California, but generally nicer weather down there. There is some Santa Ana winds over parts of Los Angeles County down there that's creating some elevated fire risk. We'll take a quick look at that. And then we're going to look at the extended period. And it looks like we're going to get a ridge of high pressure over the area over the next few days. That's going to dry out the weather for much of the West Coast before we bring a weak frontal system over into the Pacific Northwest later this coming week. And then we're also going to take a quick look at the very extended forecast. And it looks like a powerful jet stream is going to set up shop over the Pacific Ocean. And that's going to lead to potential for some more stormy weather as we go later into December towards Christmas time. There's still plenty of time to look at that, but models are in pretty good agreement for that far out. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now we're looking at general ridge and trough positions. Here's Alaska up here. Here's British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, California. You can see very little of the previous atmospheric river that's kind of dying off over the Oregon coast, and you can just see this light color in that shows some general troughing over the area. You can see that this ridge starts building over the region as we go through Monday into Tuesday, kind of lingers through Wednesday. But before the Gulf of Alaska troughing starts moving back in the area, this is going to bring a weak frontal system into the Pacific Northwest, bringing some increased rain chances as we go later on Wednesday into Thursday. Then we build another short ridge as we go through later in the week, and this ridge kind of hangs out through the weekend. There's still some model disagreement on that, but most models do have this ridge building over next weekend before more troughing builds into the area. And if we go past the 10-day range into the a week after next, you can see just the storminess that starts popping up as a powerful jet stream looks to form over the Pacific Ocean. That will increase the active weather chances as we go later into December. Now let's look at the mean sea level pressure map. You can see a little bit of lower pressure over the Pacific Northwest right now as the atmospheric river dies off. Then you can see the high pressure building as the ridge builds over the area. Weak frontal system moves through later on Wednesday into Thursday, brings some rain chances. Dry out a bit as we go through late in the week. Maybe a little bit of precipitation as this cut off low pressure system that gets cut off from the jet stream kind of pumps a little bit of moisture into the area on Friday into early on Saturday. Ridge continues the stay over the Pacific Northwest and much of the West Coast as we go through later into the weekend. This cutoff flow may try to bring some precipitation chances to the parts of the Oregon coastline and California coastline, but not expecting too much with that until it starts moving closer to the area later on Sunday into Monday of next weekend and early of the upcoming week. And then if we take a little closer look at the farther into the extent forecast, you can see the low pressure starting to build over the Gulf of Alaska, once again bringing maybe chances for more storms and atmospheric rivers moving into there. Still plenty of time to look at this, but most models show this happening at some point. Now let's take a look at 6-hour precipitation totals. You can see our atmospheric river just slowly dying off, maybe bring some showers to the southern British Columbia area and parts of western Washington, and most of Oregon should be getting at least some precipitation today before most of it dies off later on Monday. You get a bit of dry weather before that weak frontal system I've been talking about moves through later on Wednesday into Thursday. That precipitation kind of dies off around maybe midday on Thursday before maybe some showers move through later on Thursday for parts of eastern Washington, southeastern BC. Then you can see maybe some of this precipitation from this cutoff flow kind of clips parts of southwest BC and western Washington, not expecting too much with that before maybe some showers move through during the weekend time. We still have plenty of time to look at this. But then you can see that cutoff low starts moving towards the coastline and bringing some precipitation chances for much of the West Coast, all the way from southwest BC down to parts of central California. That kind of moves through as we go out the 10-day range. You can see a decent system moving through California. Some of the models have been hinting at this, but we'll continue to watch this as we go. Here's the total precipitation inches. A lot of this is already fallen, but we can add maybe another quarter of an inch of rain to a half an inch of rain to some of these mountain locations. Then you can see our next weak frontal system moving through on Wednesday, maybe bringing up towards a quarter to a half an inch for places around Seattle, parts of the Cascades as well. Kind of dries out, and then you can see that little bit, almost like a little mini atmospheric river hitting Vancouver, and some of this may clip parts of the BC coastline down here near Vancouver and parts of Washington, but we'll continue to look at that. It's not looking like anything significant. And then you can see the cuff flow moving into the west coast, and you can see it starting to bring precipitation chances all the way down to just north of Los Angeles in California. And then you can see the continued systems possible after that. Now, this is a wide view of things. Here's Japan over here, Russia, Siberia's over here, Alaska's over here, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, California, Hawaii's down here. This kind of gives a good view of the jet stream. You can see the wave-like pattern that the jet stream creates with ridges of high pressure going up and down, and then it goes down into a trough. It's kind of this wave pattern that the jet stream has. You can see this kind of just cycle through with the high pressure in certain places and low pressure areas in other places. But then as we go through towards the 10-day range, watch this big blue cold mass of air. This is the European mean of the ensembles. This basically means it's taking an average of all 50 ensemble members and giving us some feedback that is more likely to occur than just a single deterministic model run. As we play this out, this is 10 days out, and you can see it's actually showing a pretty powerful trough over much of Alaska into the Gulf of Alaska. This is a pretty strong signal for 10 days out, and I'm not sure if I've seen an agreement like this far out. And you can see this this big trough over the Gulf of Alaska. This is approaching 12 to 14 days out, and it's still showing a really powerful signal. So it's definitely something noteworthy to watch. It's still over a week to almost 2 weeks out, but the models are really agreeing on it quite a bit as we go through towards Christmas time. This would bring more active weather to parts of California, Oregon, Washington, British Columbia. The exact impacts are still in question and will be in question for most of this week into next week before we start getting closer to the event. Now this is way up in the atmosphere. This is wind speed plus streamlines and knots. This basically shows where the jet stream is, and you can see the ridges is where the jet stream goes up and then down, and then the lower area is where the troughs are. And you can see as we play this through this week, you can just see the general just wavy pattern of the jet stream. But then it gets more zonal or flat over the Pacific Ocean. You see this powerful jet stream over 10 days out. This is a really powerful jet stream for an ensemble mean, the ensemble average, the show past 10 days out. You can see this powerful jet stream showing a max of 178 knots. So wind speeds over 200 miles per hour way up here in the jet stream. This is the jet stream can get this strong plenty of times during the wintertime, but a model showing this over 10 days out is just incredible to see this. And usually when this sets up, this is a classic El Nino type pattern where we get this powerful jet stream that brings all this Pacific moisture into the West Coast and kind of floods the whole United States and North America with moderate temperatures as it brings that kind of warmish and moist air into the continental United States and parts of Canada as well. But this can also bring storm chances as we go through later in December. So I'm going to continue to keep a close eye on this. Now, here's a good graph from the National Weather Service of Spokane showing the weather this week. You can see today plus Monday precipitation, continued snow and rain for parts of the mountains and lowlands, decreasing from west. And then midweek, we get drier with some fog around. That ridge of high pressure is going to create some conditions for possible fog to form, lingering rain, mountain snow, southeast Washington and Idaho. Lake week, limited rain and snow chances as that weak frontal system moves through, temperatures in the mid to upper 30s and low 40s for parts of eastern Washington and some parts of northern Idaho. Here's a good graphic from the National Weather Service of Pendleton, Oregon, showing the mountain snow and freezing rain continuing for parts of the Blue Mountains of southeast Washington and northeast Oregon. And you can see additional accumulations of around 1 to 3 inches of snow with up to 0.05 of an inch of freezing rain. That's not that much freezing rain, but freezing rain can create some crazy travel conditions out there, even with just that much. So make sure to just check out the forecast and travel conditions before departing. Here's a nice graph from the National Weather Service of Sacramento, California, showing that there's going to be some cold weather in parts of the valleys down there. You can see the do's: dress in layers, limit time outside, and don't forget pets, plants, pipes, and sensitive groups. Just keep an eye out on all those things. And here's the National Weather Service of Los Angeles, California, showing the red flag fire conditions that are going to be possible for LA/Venn County mountains, valleys, and coast. This is into later today with Santa Ana winds possible, dry and windy conditions with northeast wind gusts 40 to 60 miles per hour with isolated to 70 miles per hour, especially for parts of those mountains. Widespread single-digit humidity, so that's going to lead to critical fire conditions. We can take a quick look at that on the NAM 3 cam. You can see that these winds start flowing through the mountain valleys, and this is what's called the Santa Ana winds. And these are caused by when a high pressure system forms over the interior mountain west, and there's a low pressure offshore, and that causes all the air want to flow out over the ocean. And these can bring some increased fire activity. You see the NAM showing these winds are kind of on the weakening stage as we go through later today, but you can see some gusts over 50 miles per hour will be possible as we go through later today before dying off tomorrow. Now let's take a look at, this is all the 50 ensemble members on the European model. This is for the Seattle Tacoma International Airport, SeaTac. You can see we kind of not very much wind gusts as we go through later this week and into next weekend. But you can see as that jet stream gets really powerful over the Pacific Ocean, you can see increased storm chances as we go through. This is all just fantasy and just purely entertainment purposes. Some of these had 68 miles per hour, 71 miles per hour, but this is still over 10 days out. So we'll just continue to look at this. Here's the rain chances on all the 50 ensemblers. You can see our weak system as we go through later today, maybe bring some showers to parts of Seattle. Our weak system midweek, maybe bring a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch of rain before we look to bring some more active weather as we go through into the upcoming weeks. And here's for Portland International Airport, pretty similar picture, more rain as the atmospheric rivers kind of aimed down there. A lot of this rain's already fallen from this event, but you can see that a little weak system on Thursday barely showing up for Portland, and then you can see the increased active weather potential as we go through later next week. And then you can see Sacramento International Airport, that storm track and the increased jet stream activity is also going to bring potential for rain and storm chances as we go through the upcoming weeks as well. So plenty of stuff to watch with that. Here's the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This is December 15th through the 19th. Generally above average for much of the west coast as that ridge stays over the area. 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook, below average for much of the Pacific Northwest. But you can see this is accounting for that this cutoff low that kind of hangs out over the coast of off the coast of California and Southwest Oregon. You can see they're showing above average precipitation chances with that. Here's the 18 to 14 day temperature outlook. They're showing above average temperatures for much of the continental United States, most of Alaska, most of Hawaii as well. So pretty warm as we're going into the days before Christmas. There's still plenty of time to look at this, but with that jet stream bringing in that moist and modest air into a lot of the continental United States, it's going to warm the temperatures up. Precipitation probability, obviously there's going to be above average precipitation chances for much of the west coast. This is kind of they're kind of focusing on California, but a lot of the chances will also go up towards Oregon and Washington, Southwest BC as well. So plenty of stuff to look at as we go through the coming weeks. Well, that's it for this video. Dying atmospheric river continuing over parts of Oregon later today. Some Santa Ana winds causing some increased fire potential over Southern California. Then we get a bit of a break before a weak system moves through on Wednesday and Thursday, brings some rain chances to parts of Western Washington, parts of Western Oregon, and also Southwest BC. Get a bit of more of a break as we go through next week and before potential for more active weather as we go through the coming weeks with that increased jet stream activity. If y'all enjoyed this video and found it informative, just please hit that like button, subscribe buttons down below. Also hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss out on any new uploads I do. I may do another video in the coming days. If not, I'll catch you everybody next Friday as we continue to look at and talk about that increased jet stream activity and potential active weather as we go into the prior week before Christmas time. So take care, God bless, and have a wonderful rest of your day.